Welcome to Meanwhile in History. I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Join us as we dive into the past. Plant our flag in a single year, 1215.
Okay, 1215. In a damp meadow in England, a group of disgruntled barons are forcing their king to sign a document. It's a list of demands, really, a charter of liberties.
The Magna Carta, the seed of constitutional law, the idea that even a king is not above the law. It's a foundational moment for Western political thought.
Exactly. Now, let's jump 5,000 miles east. In that same year, 1215, the city of Zhongdu, what we now call Beijing, is falling. After a brutal year-long siege, the armies of Genghis Khan are pouring through the walls. The conquest is so savage, the destruction so complete, that contemporary accounts describe the streets being greasy with human fat for months.
That is an unbelievable contrast. On one side of the world, a conversation about individual rights and limits on power is being written down on parchment. On the other, the most powerful military force on the planet is demonstrating the principle of absolute, unrestrained power. And it's happening at the exact same time.
This is the story of the 13th century. It's a period of almost incomprehensible violence and destruction, but it's also the incubator for some of the most critical ideas and systems that shape our world today. The question is, how can both of these things be true at once? Are they connected?
To understand that, you have to start with the Mongols. It's impossible to overstate the scale of what they accomplished in such a short time. At the start of the century, they were a collection of warring tribes on the Mongolian steppe. By the end of it, they controlled the largest contiguous land empire in history.
And this wasn't a slow creep. It was a hurricane. After Genghis Khan unified the tribes around 1206, the expansion was explosive. They moved into China, conquering the Western Xia and the Jin dynasty. They swept west and absolutely dismantled the Khwarezmian Empire in Persia and Central Asia between 1219 and 1221.
The destruction was, as the sources say, on a scale that's hard to grasp. We're talking about entire cities being leveled, populations massacred. The Mongol conquest of Persia and Mesopotamia culminated in the siege of Baghdad in 1258. This wasn't just any city. Baghdad was the heart of the Abbasid Caliphate, a global center of science, art, and philosophy for 500 years.
And the Mongols destroyed it. They burned the Grand Library, the House of Wisdom, supposedly turning the Tigris River black with the ink of countless books and red with the blood of scholars. It was a civilizational blow. The end of the Islamic Golden Age is often dated to that event.
Wait, what's fascinating is the sheer variety of their campaigns. It wasn't just one big push. They were fighting on multiple fronts simultaneously. While they were pushing into the Middle East, they were also invading Alania in the Caucasus and Volga Bulgaria in Eastern Europe. And the conquest of southern Song China? That wasn't a quick victory. It was a 70-year grind from the first raids in the 1200s to the final victory in 1279.
Right. That campaign shows their persistence. The siege of Shenyang alone lasted from 1267 to 1273. It was a critical fortress blocking their path to the Yangtze River. Once it fell, the rest of the Song Empire was open to them. Kublai Khan, Genghis's grandson, finally completed the conquest and established the Yuan dynasty. For the first time, all of China was under foreign rule.
So you have this force that is rewriting the political map of Eurasia through sheer military might. It seems like pure chaos and destruction, but that's only half the story, isn't it?
Exactly, because out of this unparalleled destruction arises something completely unexpected: stability.
It's a period historians call the Pax Mongolica, the Mongol Peace.
It sounds like a total contradiction. The most violent conquerors in history bring about peace?
Think of it like a brutal, hostile takeover of an entire continent. The acquisition process is horrific, but once the new management is in place, they impose a ruthlessly efficient, centralized system. The Mongols unified a vast territory that had been fragmented among warring states. By eliminating all those internal borders and local warlords, they made long-distance travel safer than it had been in centuries.
So they cleared the board. And once cleared, they started building their own infrastructure. This is where the story gets really interesting from a systems perspective.
This is the technical education piece. The key innovation was the yum. It was a highly organized postal and relay station system. Imagine a network of stations, spaced about a day's ride apart, stretching from China to the Black Sea. Each station had fresh horses, food, and lodging for official riders and envoys.
It's like a medieval FedEx combined with a government-run highway rest stop system, an imperial information superhighway. It allowed for rapid communication across the empire, which is essential for governing such a vast territory. But it also had massive commercial spillovers.
Huge spillovers. Merchants could travel these routes with a level of security that was previously unimaginable. The Mongols weren't sentimental about it, they just understood that trade was good for tax revenue. They issued passports, protected caravans, and built bridges and caravanserais, roadside inns. The result was the revitalization of the Silk Road. This was its golden age.
And this is what enabled the journeys of people like Marco Polo's family. They weren't trekking through a dangerous no man's land. They were traveling on a state-secured trade network. The Pax Mongolica created, as one source put it, the first integrated market in pre-modern history. Goods, ideas, technologies, and unfortunately, diseases could now flow across Eurasia with unprecedented speed.
So the paradox is real. The same empire that leveled Baghdad also created a system that allowed a Venetian merchant to travel safely to China and back. It's a story of brutal centralization leading to global connection. Okay, so while the Mongols are building this top-down, authoritarian but highly connected empire, what's happening on the western edge of the continent, in Europe? It's a completely different model of development.
Totally different. If the Mongol story is about the concentration of power, the European story in the 13th century is about its limitation. We go back to 1215 and the Magna Carta. The crucial context here is that King John of England had just suffered a massive military defeat.
The Battle of Bouvines in 1214, he lost to Philip II of France, which basically ended English ambitions on the continent for a long time. So he comes home broke and politically weakened.
Exactly. The Magna Carta wasn't granted out of his goodwill. It was extracted by his barons, who saw an opportunity. It established principles like the right to a trial by a jury of one's peers and, critically, that the king couldn't levy taxes without the consent of the realm. It's a transaction. The barons will support the king, but only if he agrees to operate within a written set of rules.
And it wasn't a one-off document. It was reissued and confirmed multiple times throughout the century, under Henry III in 1225 and by Edward I in 1297. It was becoming institutionalized. It's the beginning of a long, slow process of building a state based on law, not just on the whim of a ruler.
And this wasn't just happening in England. This is what makes it a genuine European trend. In 1222, King Andrew II of Hungary was forced to sign the Golden Bull.
It granted similar rights to his nobles, including tax exemptions and, remarkably, the jus resistendi, the right to resist the king if he violated the terms of the charter.
The right to disobey the king? That's incredible. It's the contractual nature of power made explicit. And there's another legal revolution happening at the same time. The Fourth Lateran Council in 1215, that same year again, effectively abolished trial by ordeal.
Yes, for centuries, guilt or innocence was determined by dunking someone in water or making them hold a hot iron. The church basically said, "We're not doing this anymore." This forced secular authorities to come up with a new system, which accelerated the adoption of trial by jury. It's a shift towards evidence and reason, away from superstition. It's the slow, painful construction of a legal framework.
So you have two competing models for organizing society at a massive scale. The Mongol model, conquest, centralization, and efficiency imposed from the top. And the European model, fragmented, messy, but developing these bottom-up legal constraints on power that would eventually form the basis for modern nation-states. But the world is much bigger than Eurasia. While these two massive narratives are unfolding, other empires are being born and others are dying out. Let's jump to West Africa.
Right. Around 1235, a leader named Sundiata Keita wins a decisive victory at the Battle of Karina. This victory allows him to consolidate a number of smaller kingdoms and forge the Mali Empire. It's another origin story for a major world power happening right in the same window of time.
And Mali's power wasn't just based on military conquest, but on economic control. Soon, Sundiata and his successors took control of the trans-Saharan trade routes. They controlled the flow of two critical commodities, salt from the north and gold from the south. The wealth they generated was staggering.
This economic power fueled the rise of legendary cities like Timbuktu, which became a vital center for trade, but also for Islamic scholarship and culture. So here you have a third model of empire building in the 13th century, one founded on controlling the key nodes of a regional trade network.
So we have an empire of conquest, an empire of legal ideas, and an empire of trade. What about the old model, the one based on religious fervor? I'm thinking of the Crusades.
The 13th century is really the story of the decline and fall of that model, at least in its original form. The century opens just after the disastrous Fourth Crusade, which in 1204 didn't even attack Muslims in the Holy Land. Instead, the Crusaders sacked the Christian city of Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire.
That's wild. It completely exposed the movement's contradictions. The commercial interests of Venice, which funded the crusade, trumped the supposed religious goals. It was a geopolitical land grab disguised as a holy war, and it fatally weakened the Great Eastern Christian Empire.
And the rest of the century is a series of failures and bizarre side quests. You have the Fifth Crusade failing in Egypt. The Seventh and Eighth Crusades, led by Louis IX of France, also end in defeat. The whole concept gets diluted too, with the Albigensian Crusade being waged against Christians within Europe itself.
The final nail in the coffin comes in 1291 with the fall of Acre. It was the last major Crusader stronghold in the Levant. When it fell to the Mamluks, the 200-year European experiment of holding territory in the Holy Land was over. The ideology was spent. So, when you pull the camera back and look at the entire 13th century globe, you see this incredible tapestry of competing ideas about power and organization all playing out at once.
You have the Mongol system. Violent integration creates a global network. You have the European system. Political fragmentation leads to the slow, painful invention of legal statehood. You have the Malian system. Strategic control of resources builds a wealthy cultural powerhouse.
And you have the Crusader system, based on an older model of religious expansionism, which is visibly failing and closing down. The story doesn't end neatly, though. These threads are all deeply interwoven in ways that shape what comes next.
Completely. The Pax Mongolica, for all its brutality, creates a connected world. It exposes Europeans to the immense wealth and technology of the East. When the Mongol Empire later fragments and those overland routes become dangerous again, the demand in Europe for Eastern goods doesn't disappear. That demand, combined with the growing power of these newly organizing European states, provides a powerful incentive to find another way to Asia.
They have to find a sea route. The end of the Pax Mongolica directly contributes to the beginning of the Age of Discovery. The Crusades also play a part. They stimulated the economies of Italian city-states like Venice and Genoa, creating massive pools of capital and maritime expertise that would fund future exploration.
And the legal frameworks developed in Europe, the ideas from Magna Carta, become the building blocks for states capable of funding and administering these massive, long-distance colonial ventures. It's not a direct line, but you can see the blueprint being drawn.
It's a powerful lesson. The 13th century looks like a chaotic, violent, and disconnected series of events when you study it in isolated boxes. But when you look at it all at once, you see it for what it was, a global crucible. It was a period of intense destruction that simultaneously forged the networks, the ideas, and the imbalances of power that would define the next 500 years.
It leaves you with a huge question. Is this the nature of history? That periods of extreme disruption and collapse are necessary to create the conditions for a new, more interconnected world order to emerge. The 13th century certainly makes a strong case for it.
Welcome to Word'em! Hello, puzzle people! I'm Webster Gridley, your official guide to the world of Word'em.
Can we be honest for a second? You know that feeling when you finish your daily word puzzle? You have to wait 24 whole hours to play again? Who has time for that? Not me, and I bet not you. That's why we built Word'em. The waiting game? Over. Sure, we have the daily challenge. Everyone gets the same word once a day, so you can still brag to your friends. But flip the switch to free play, and you have infinite puzzles. Forever! Got a roommate who ruins your stats?
Word'em lets you create separate profiles right on the same device.
Your streak is safe with me.
It's sleek, it's animated, it's fun.
Word'em! Play daily. Play forever.